us on Zoom right now. And I'll say, what more do we know tonight?
So, Evans, we know that Professor Paul Watson appeared before the office of the Special Prosecutor on 16th May. Now, it will be recalled that the Office of the Special Prosecutor published that it had commenced investigations into suspected corruption and corruption related offenses in respect of illegal mining. This was in October 2022. It also stated that the investigation targeted the activities and expenditure of the dissolved Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, especially in respect of the seizure and management of excavators, machinery, road vehicles, and gold nuggets. And the same invitation was extended to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Now, the Special Prosecutor on May 2nd acknowledged the recent calls for action and investigation into these matters by the public and civil society following the publication of a report on parts of these matters authored by the former Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, Professor Mpom Boateng. So, based on this, Professor Mpom Boateng was invited to appear before investigators working with the OASP. So, on the 16th of May, around midday, Professor Mpom Boateng appeared before the interrogators. Now, my information is that during the interrogation, the officers told him that they were formally placing him under arrest. Now, Professor Bimbo Watson, per my information, got upset and left the interrogation room and then went away. Now, what I'm picking is that he was followed to his residence by officers of the office, working with the Office of the Special Prosecutor to establish his residence. And then after he was told again of his arrest and placed on a 5 million Ghana cedi bail bond. Now, the facts of the matter, as we have picked, relates to the work of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining and the fact that the Office of the Special Prosecutor, in inviting Professor Mpom to appear before the office, told him to bring documents to collaborate expenditure covering an amount of over 300 million Ghana cedis, vehicles, drones, and other machinery that were allocated to the committee in the fight against illegal mining. And also allegations that some gold nuggets were, for want of a better word, stolen by operatives of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining. What I'm picking is that the committee was not satisfied, or the OSP investigators were not satisfied with the explanation, especially relating to the expenditure by the committee. And it was during the interrogation around the figure 300, over 300 million Ghana cedi that he was told that he was formally being placed under arrest, and this got him upset and he left the room. But they followed up to his home, established his residence. So as we speak, he is under arrest formally on a 5 million Ghana cedis bail bond.
So, for clarity, this arrest has nothing to do with the report that he authored, which became a subject of controversy a few weeks back. This has everything to do
Absolutely.
with his tenure as a chairman of the Interministerial Committee and issues surrounding that tenure and this 300 million plus CDs that the OSP is seeking to probe when it comes to issues of accountability.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, per the information that I have picked, the invitation was somewhere in 2022, uh, even before Professor Fimbo Barton was extended an investigation. The OASP had put in a public domain the fact that it has started investigations into this particular matter. But the invitation to Professor Fimbo Barton also acknowledged the fact that he had put in a public domain a document cataloging the activities of the Interministerial Committee on Legal Mining, which he chaired. But that was not the basis upon which he was invited to appear before the investigators. It had to do more with the expenditure covering the activities of the committee. He was told to bring forth documents to collaborate every city spent, and also to account for some vehicles, some drones, some gold nuggets that, according to the OSP, uh, were all in the possession of the committee. And because he chaired the committee, he was invited to appear first. Subsequent to that, they'll go ahead and then uh, get the others to appear before them. Now, when the matter of the arrest came in, my information, in fact, is that Professor Frimpong Boateng got upset and left the office of the special prosecutor. Now, when he left, my sources telling me that he called a very, very, very senior member of the MPP and told this senior member of the MPP that the OSP is seeking to embarrass him in the eyes of the public, and that he was no longer going to cooperate with the work that the OSP is undertaking. The OSP followed him to his residence and established where he lives, and then information that what they are putting together is to now go to court and start the processes.
And ultimately, as we learn a few more of the details for which he's now been arrested, you've mentioned that one of the issues that the OSP is probing revolves around the purchase of drones. And I recall very correctly when the Interministerial Committee was formed several months into its work, they bought drones. In fact, the secretary to the committee, then Charles Bishu, recently has spoken to me here on Top Story and had raised issues about the drones that they had bought. You know, he had left the committee following his own issues, which the OSP is investigating. And he had talked about drones that he had purchased. He talks about some 200 drones that they had purchased. He was questioning then what happened to the drones and where the drones are. And in that interview, Charles Bishu, who used to be the secretary of the Interministerial Committee, had raised issues with training that had they done for several individuals to manage the drones, and was questioning what became of that training that happened and why it had not been sustained over the period. So this drone issue is obviously an issue that I guess the OSP is interested in. Another expenditure surrounding the committee's work, which you've been confirming from the office.
Absolutely, Evans. And in fact, if you want to go through the letter of invitation extended to Professor Frimpong Boateng, what the OSP is seeking to establish is quite clear. The letter was to him to provide information on the seizure and management of excavators, machinery, and machinery in brackets. There is drones, there are other things, also road vehicles, and the allegation that some gold nuggets were taken by operatives working under the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining. So he was asked to come and provide evidence about these claims, more specifically to give evidence or provide account on the amount of money government had put into the stream to help the committee do its work. And we are talking about over 300 million Ghana cedis.
And very recently, Frimpong Boateng has been speaking, and he's talked about the missing excavators quite extensively. He opened up about it, in which he says allegations were baseless and mere fabrications which were made against him to cause his removal. So he's vehemently already in the public denied that he had any role in the missing excavators, and he is the one who put this information in the public domain first, and it became a big issue. And subsequently, he himself became a subject of a lot of questions because he was a chair of that interministerial committee at the time that the excavators went missing. It's been many, many years since that happened, and now the special prosecutor is looking into where these excavators are. And the funding that went into it. Elton, stay with me. I want to bring in a Ken Ashigbe, and Ken Ashigbe, you know him, is a convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining. Also joining me is a lawyer and colleague, Samson Lade Yinini, as we all begin to digest the details that we are getting following the arrest of Professor Frimpong Boateng. Let me bring in first Mr. Ashigbe. Mr. Ashigbe, what's your reaction to what we're hearing tonight? That Frimpong Boateng has been arrested formally, is on a 5 million cedi bail.
Well, thank you very much, Evans. And it's interesting when I heard the story, and for me, and it's also interesting that it's the special prosecutor that has invited him. And I know a little bit of the special prosecutor's work and the way they work. Sometimes there's a bit of sunshine, sometimes they are a bit quiet. And normally, when they invite you for these investigations, granting you bail tends to be the norm. But then you also would ask questions about the timing of this. As Elton said rightly, this was supposed to have started last year in October. And then on the 16th, Frimpong Boateng is invited in for this conversation. And the question you would want to ask yourself is the coincidence. And so for me, it is good that the Office of the Special Prosecutor wants to look into this. They are dealing with the secretary. They're dealing with the chairman. But there's several ministers who were also part of this committee, and some of them are still currently at post. And so if you want to find out what, in terms of documentations and all of that, I don't know whether they were expecting that the professor, when he was leaving, going home, would carry all of those documents with him. The office, those who are currently in office, should also be invited. So we would be watching the special prosecutor very keenly, but giving him the benefit of the doubt, hoping that this is not a system that would want to, shut the professor down because of this report that has been brought out. And we would hope that a special prosecutor would be very open and would be very thorough in its work. It's the reason why I have said that to look at this issue of Galamsey, especially on the back of this report that the professor has brought out, we should have a committee or a commission, I don't know legally which one should, which should sit openly, transparently, be able to invite witnesses and look into this case. And we need the government to give their word that they will not issue any white paper to whitewash whatever outcomes this committee will come up. Because where we are currently, Evans, the situation is dire, even worse than what was happening when the professor was at post and they were working. The level of impunity now and the level of the degradation that we are seeing, it really needs everybody on course. And I hope that the OSP would also be mindful of this and know the public interest that is in this, and the fact that for a large part, they seem to have our confidence, and they need to keep that and show that they are being transparent, they are being very independent in the way they are handling this particular issue, so that it will not be said that it's because he brought out his report that this is happening. But also, we also need to bear in mind that this thing was supposed to have started last year, October. So, there's a possibility that they are just continuing what they do, and then they are going by the processes they do, where when they invite you for any of these corruption-related activities, they will grant you bail. But we will be watching with very eager eyes and waiting for the next few ministers and other persons who are involved in the interministerial committee who should be invited, to also ask questions, answer questions. And when they also come, we're hoping that they would also be arrested and be granted bail.
And something, so many will look at this special prosecutor doing his job and being tough on illegal mining. Is that how you read it?
The special prosecutor, by the law that sets the office up, Act 959 2017, gives the special prosecutor very wide powers. The powers that IOCO has, the special prosecutor has, all those powers that that IOCO has had, and how you used to be very afraid of the IOCO as a serious fraud office. The special prosecutor has even enhanced and better powers, and has the powers of the police to exercise in Section 28 of the law. It is empowered to exercise the powers exercisable by the police, as you find in our Criminal and Other Offences Procedure Act of 1960. And in fact, in the LI that was also passed for the special prosecutor in 2018, they have elaborated their procedure in a way that you do not know to see in Ghana when it comes to how bodies like this or security operations are done. They have specific rules on how to conduct preliminary inquiries or investigation. They have specific rules on how to deal with people when they are dealing with full investigations. They have powers to profile suspects, among other things. So, from what I know so far regarding this particular matter, they've just exercised their basic standard, operating procedure. Once you are invited by the office and you honor the invitation, it means you help them not to arrest you, so to speak. I think come look for you and pick you up and put handcuffs on you. But once you step on their premises, you are either a person of interest from whom they are seeking information, and through the process may make a determination whether you should be a suspect or just a person of interest who could actually help them. There are circumstances where you may appear before them and they would have looked at you as a suspect, but eventually will turn you into a person of interest and who might even help them subsequently. But once they make the determination that you ought to be cautioned and you have to be granted bail in the manner we know has happened to Professor Boateng, then it means that the complaint against him is very serious. And I understand, in fact, that it is a serious one. And there are other people, as many as of about 8 or more, have also been invited. Some of them, you are familiar with them. Their names have been mentioned in the professor's own report that he submitted. There are people who were acting as journalists through whom were told of some monies that were, given to them and so on and so forth. They have all been, interrogated and granted bail. So I'm quite, satisfied that this process is going on the way it is going, and that in due course, those that are deemed prosecutable will be put before court and prosecuted over the allegations that are coming. We want to know the extent, of these allegations, particularly as they border on money.
And you heard Ken Ashigbe's concerns about the coincidence of his arrest. If you put it beside what we know happened when his report to the Chief Justice and the presidency, to the Chief of Staff and the presidency became public. What do you make of the concerns that he raised there?
At this point in time, I think that it would be useful, and it will be the best thing to do, not to speculate, because the special prosecutor, once again, the improvement we have seen in their law is that they are bound by the law to supply us information, which information they have to even publish on their website.
And to be fair, the special prosecutor has been doing that. He's been speaking at events and has been issuing statements very detailed, sometimes even before we know it's already out. So that's a factor also.
I think this time it is rather the professor who has made this public. Otherwise, this happened in May 16th or so, right?
As Elton confirmed there. And indeed, Elton's still with me because Elton is still learning a bit more, even as we've been speaking. Elton, is there a requirement from the special prosecutor for Frimpong Boateng to subject himself to his authority regularly, on a regular basis during this period whilst he's on investigations?
We're trying to get answer to this particular question, but the closer we got was to the effect that the ultimate aim of the special prosecutor is to put these individuals before courts and allow the court to pronounce on them. So in the coming days, we are likely to hear more names in connection with this matter. Indeed, what I've just few minutes ago, what I was just told by my source at the office of the special prosecutor is that the investigation is ongoing and far-reaching, and now is also covering the matters raised in the report published by the head of the dissolved interministerial committee, Professor Frimpong, and indeed they have a tall list of names and letters that will be going to these individuals from tomorrow, telling them that they are people that they prime for investigation, and then giving them indication when the special prosecutor would like to have them appear before them for interrogation. So what I'm just speaking in a few minutes that we are on air is that these individuals have been penciled down, and in the coming days will be told
and
when
these
to
are
appear.
individuals named in the Frimpong report that we've seen.
In fact, this document says that this investigation, that the latest that this is far-reaching, and now they've also opened it up to cover matters raised in the report published by the head of the dissolved IMCM. And then the information is that some of these individuals are journalists, like something just stated, people who are politically exposed, former ministers, and then former MPs, and then some former employees that work under this interministerial committee, and all of them will be notified when to appear for their statements to be taken.
Mr. Ashigbe, what do you make of that? They just as we've been confirming the outing and just giving us a bit more detail towards something earlier, also hinted at the special prosecutor is doing a far-reaching probe into this.
No, I think you see, for me that's why when I started it, I said this is a special prosecutor. So I would give them a big benefit of the doubt in the way they've worked. And so what you would want to look at is the consistency, and already you're beginning to see that. So if there are names that are already out there, then we would hope that would happen. And, and I think that it is very welcoming, that we are really going to look at this. And then the investigation that was supposed to have started in October last year now is going to include the elements that have been mentioned in the professor's statement. And I would want to see, because there are still actors who are currently at post, those who have left and all of that. And we would want the special prosecutor to do what we've known them to do, their independence, of action and of thought, that they should do same, such that if any current minister is invited, to the special prosecutor, they take those decisions of whether they are persons of interest or whether they are suspect, and they let them go through the same. And as Samson pointed out, they, by their law, would have to tell us what exactly they are doing. So it's important that happens, so that all of us can have the confidence, because if you look at a few research that has been done, the Afrobarometer being the last one, the trust that citizens have in institutions is really on the decline, and the special prosecutor is one of the few that we still have some trust in. So it would really be important for the special prosecutor and his team to go that particular path, and they have our total support to ensure that they look really into the challenges that currently are facing us so far as Galamsey is concerned, and do not care whose ass is God. Everybody else who is implicated in it, should also be drawn in, and the same hot stove principle should apply. If you touch it, it burns you. It doesn't know who you are, what color you are in, and I think that's welcoming.
And something you expect now for the special prosecutor to at least give some clarity on what is happening here, as to avoid the vacuum then being filled with rumor, speculation and conjecture.
Yes, it's either they are issuing some preliminary statements to give us the details as we have come to know them do, or they will wait within the period that the law allows and requires them to so do, to do and update us on their website, so that we'll all get to know. But look, from what some of us got to know long before now, how the Akonta mining people, all of those people had been, hauled before the special prosecutor, taking through the processes. We can only hope and wait and hope that things will be done in such a way that people don't feel that in this country you can get away with murder.
Samson, thank you very much. Samson Lada Yinini is a lawyer, colleague here at Joy news. Also, you had Ken Ashigbe, who is a convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, and my colleague Elton Brobe, who has been digging, working his sources to get a bit more as we learn tonight of the arrest of Professor Frimpong Boateng, who is the former chair of the Interministerial Committee Against Illegal Mining. And as we've also been learning, he is currently on bail with the condition is 5 million cedis. And from what we're learning from the Special Prosecutor's Office, this is a far-reaching probe that would also include individuals named in his report that became very controversial a few weeks back. This is Top Story Newsnight in a minute.
Ever visited a shop, picked a whole basket of provisions, toiletries, and very essential things you need, battled a long queue to finally pay, only to be told you can't pay to a merchant number the way that thing they pay, But with Vodafone Cash, there is no problem. Now on Vodafone Cash, you can pay all merchants on all networks. Easy peasy. Aye straight. Aye direct. Aye sharp. From your Vodafone Cash wallet to any merchant number on other networks. So whether you are buying provisions or fuel, medication or food, whatever the service or need, just pay conveniently from Vodafone Cash to any merchant number. Simply dial *110# to make payment to merchants on other networks today. Vodafone.
I've got Bell Pack and I won't let go.
My name is Nana McBrown. Many people think I get what I want anytime because I am popular. No, that is not true. It is because me and Kasano, I like the best, and when I find it, I stick to it. I have found Bell Pack Tea Roll, and I'm stuck with it. It is soft but not weak, strong but not hard. It is just perfect. Bell Pack Tea Roll is smooth and gentle on the skin. Same as Bell Pack Kitchen Towel. It cleans in one wipe. You can soak, squeeze, and clean again. One Bell Pack Kitchen Towel lasts longer and saves you money. It's time you switch to Bell Pack today and experience the perfect paper tissue. Say pocket tissue, table napkins, tea roll, and a kitchen towel. Paper chow. Bell Pack is simply the best. Bell Pack, just perfect.
To be a Bell Pack distributor, call 055-11-44400. Another quality product from Bell Aqua.
Nothing feels so good like Bell Pack.
Wouldn't you prefer an apartment hotel? One that offers the utmost convenience of a boutique hotel while offering the idyllic comfort of your own private home. Oasis Park Residences offers luxury studios, 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms, both for short and long-term rental at competitive rates. Our sky swimming pool, gourmet outdoor restaurant, and a fully equipped gym rest on a breathtaking rooftop with panoramic views of the city. Oasis Park Residences, located at Shiashi Tetekwashi, 10 minutes from the international airport, is the ideal place for all your accommodation needs. Why don't you give us a call on 020-4343-009 or visit our website at oasisparkresidences.com to make your reservations. Oasis Park Residences, more than a home.
This Father's Day, show love and appreciation to your father with Woodin's variety of specially designed shirts. Get your father exquisite styled shirts from any Woodin retail shop nationwide and receive a lovely gift to make the occasion more memorable. Terms and conditions apply. Offer available while stocks last. Woodin, le créateur.
On Newsnight tonight, political gridlock in Asin North as MPP finally elects its parliamentary candidate and the NDC launches its campaign in a bid to hold on to the seat they won in 2020.
And we are going to conduct an effective campaign, an election-winning campaign. And let me repeat, we are going to win these elections. We are going to snatch this seat from the NDC.
We tell you about the NDC's Mammoth March into the constituency with its 2020 vice presidential candidate, Professor Jane Nano Pokwajiman, leading party bigwigs. Plus, why the Electoral Commission is challenging the NDC to produce evidence suggesting that they are colluding with the MPP to rig the polls.
Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted and the House has accordingly given prior approval to the appointment of the nominee to the position of a Chief Justice.
Also tonight, Minority Chief Whip stirs controversy in Parliament as he charges newly approved Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo to be better at justice delivery than his predecessor, Enin Yeboah.
I am hopeful, Mr. Speaker, that she will be a better Chief Justice than the person she's taking over from. Why do I say this, Mr. Speaker? Under the reign of the outgoing Chief Justice, the level of miscarriage of justice in this country reached a crescendo and must never be repeated.
We have details of the spirited debate in Parliament that preceded the approval of the President's nominee.
The Supreme Court is not above the criticisms of the Parliament of Ghana.
And judges always welcome criticism of their judgment. But when we are critiquing, we will critique the judgment with law, facts, with alternative arguments.
And then we get to hear from the incoming Chief Justice herself. Gertrude Torkornoo is worried about what she says is the attrition rate of the great and good from the Supreme Court this year.
I personally cannot help but feel almost orphaned by the situation. The attrition rate of the great and good from the Supreme Court this year leaves us all with great sadness.
And in business, bulk oil distributors give more positive outlook for fuel prices at the pumps in the coming weeks.
In sports, former Western Regional FA Chairman Kojo Yanka accuses GFA President Keto Kureku of destroying the unity within the Ghanaian football community.
And then we get to focus on our Clean Ghana campaign today, and officials of the Neopian station faces possible charges of violating environmental rules after the team discovered an illegal connection of waste from the station directly into the Koli Lagoon. And then it's time for the National Science and Maths Quiz. And Breku Methodist SHTS defeats Drobo SHS to make a debut appearance at the national stage.
But somebody would argue that given your performance, you had 16.
If even we have won with 2 points, we still we are going.
We have that and more in tonight's edition of Newsnight. Do well to join us with your thoughts and comments. It's via WhatsApp 055-1111-997. We're live on Twitter Spaces. We're on Facebook, myjoyonline.com, and a number of affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. Please do stay with us. I am Emefa Apau, and I'm here with Evan Spencer.
And there is political gridlock tonight in Asin North, where there is a flurry of political activity with the NPP electing its parliamentary candidate today in the primary and the NDC going ahead to launch its campaign.
So the governing New Patriotic Party a few hours ago, like you said, elected Charles Opoku as the parliamentary candidate to face off with NDC's James Jachikwesin on June 27. So Charles Opoku secured 397 votes to beat his main contender Freeman Che, who managed 136 votes. Well, the leadership of the NPP say the end of the primary signals the beginning of aggressive campaigning aimed at winning that by-election. Henry Nana Boachi, we call him Nana B, is the national organizer of the NPP.
Today happens to be the elections day. We are happy with the level of cooperation from the polling station executives, constituency executives, also the level of cooperation from the Electoral Commission and the security agencies. That is the Ghana Police. We are happy with the level of cooperation. What is apparent is that there are two people contesting, and we are very hopeful that anyone who through this process will emerge victorious is going to be the NDC candidate hands down. So we are happy with the two men who picked up nominations, and we are waiting for the outcome so that we will launch and then wage an effective and a strong campaign to snatch the seat from the NDC.
Now, only one person will emerge victorious as your candidate to face off with the NDC's James Jachukwason. What are you telling your supporters? Because we know that, and you have told us consistently that in 2020 there was some division among you. That is why James Jachukwason won. True?
Yes, it's true. Yes, I mean, if you critically analyze the 2020 elections, you will recall that His Excellency the President won the elections. Unfortunately, we lost. If you zero in specifically on Asin Breku has 13 polling stations. Out of the 13 polling stations, His Excellency the President won 12. Then Mr. Kwasin also won 12. Clearly, you could see that there was skirt and blouse issues here. Yes, we had some internal problems. I can tell you that we have addressed all of these internal problems. We are going through this process peacefully, and all of us will unite behind the person who will win, and we are going to conduct an effective campaign, an election winning campaign. And let me repeat, we are going to win these elections. We are going to snatch this seat from the NDC.
Let me bring in our man on the ground, Richard Kojo, who is live from Asin North. Well, Richard, let's first run through the results of this just ended primaries.
Well, so Charles Opoku, as we earlier heard, secured 397 votes as against Freeman Che, who secured 136. In fact, the election was smooth sailing and there was no untoward action. But after the election, they marched to the principal street of Asana Confederate through to Asin Breku, where major construction works are ongoing. There's an AstroTurf, the roads, all the major roads within the town, they are being given facelifts. But that is not all. Now the MPP has launched a campaign officially. They've begun the campaign led by the General Secretary of the party. On the other hand, we see the NDC also, also campaigning, and that charge is being led by the 2020 running mate of the party, Professor Zainab Nina Schumacher, and then the candidate of the NDC himself, James Jachukwason. So there are two aggressive campaigns that are running concurrently in the constituency. Currently, the NDC campaign is at Asin Breku. From here, a few minutes from now, they will be at Asin Praso, and they are not leaving anything to chance. They say that the seat belongs to them and they must win and win at all costs.
So two major crucial campaigns launched in Asin North, and I'm sure that you've been interacting with residents in particular. I'm curious, what exactly have they been telling you about this? How are they taking it in?
Well, so the residents have been expressing joy and surprise at the same time. Joy for the fact that the major development that started some years ago, now they are back at it and they are working on these construction. Where if you look at the 32-kilometer road, it's been asphalted. It's very nice to drive on. There are also inner town roads within the big towns within the Asin North constituency. For that, they are very grateful. But there are others that are also surprised at the speed of life with which these constructions are ongoing, and many attribute them to the by-election. But some have also been very quick to rebut that when there is a wedding or when there is a ceremony coming to your house, you make preparations, and that is why the constructions and the works are ongoing. And so it's been very, very hectic here, and it's been very, very serious as far as the campaigns are concerned.
Jane Nano Opoku leading the side of the NDC. Really, what is the message that she's been giving to residents as to why they should maintain James Jachukwason?
One, she says that they should ignore, they should brush aside all the major development they see now because they are geared towards the election. Two, he says that the NDC is the only party that can secure the future of this constituency, because they left them for about 2 years. There was nothing happening in the constituency. So it is not for this by-election that they will come trooping into the constituency, promising them that they will do A, B, C, D. And she said that they hear that the president will be there to commission some projects and all of that. She basically asked them to brush them aside and then focus on James Jachikwesin and then vote for him. James Jachikwesin, on the other hand, has also been commenting on that. He's also been interacting with the people. He says that they say that a vote for him means that he will go to jail after he's been elected. And he's charging them to elect him, and no one would dare arrest him, because if they want to arrest him, he's a free man, he's walking about in this country, and they should dare arrest him. So there is nothing that is changing him, and so the people should ignore every propaganda against him and then go ahead to vote for him.
Well, briefly, Richard, before I let you off, the issue about Charles Opoku, with all the controversy, he's been elected as the parliamentary candidate for the NPP. I bet you've been trying to get a word or two from him after this, win, convincing win, I should add, 397 votes. What has he been saying?
He's rallying the support of all of them. He says that he comes from the constituency precisely as Breku. And the twist and turns here, the NDC's candidate James Jachikwesin comes from Asen Breku. That is the biggest town. It has 13 polling stations. In the 2020 elections, the NPP's flag bearer secured 12 out of the 13, but the candidate lost. And so that is why they are saying that they needed someone who also comes from Asen Breku, and that is Charles Opoku. Charles Opoku, they say, has been working in the constituency for a very long time. He owns an NGO and has been embarking on various developmental projects. So they said that, well, it was only voting that he couldn't vote. That he comes from there, he's resided there, and he fulfills all the requirements according to the Constitution.
That's my colleague Richard Kujonyako, they're reporting live from Asin North. Let me bring in the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Gbande. We also have on the other line the national organizer of the NPP, Henry Nanabuachi Nanabi. We're told they've all relocated to the Asin North area. Mustafa Gbande, thank you so much for joining us, as well as Nanabi. Thank you so much for joining us here on Newsnight. So, Mustafa, let me first find out from you, now that you know who your opponent in terms of the candidates for the NPP is, in spite of all the concerns that you've raised, will it be Operation Maintain or Snatch?
I think that clearly our brothers are on a borrowing popularity spree, because they've realized that there's no way they can win the seat from the NDC. And so the best that they can is to go and look for someone who is not a voter in that constituency to boost their popularity. I've seen not now, and I pass on the major road and an actual third project that have been completed. All other projects are projects that have been abandoned for some time, and government now revisiting those projects. They are called by-election projects. They are not genuine developmental agenda projects. And so the people have also realized that clearly this is a government that is trooping into their communities because of by-election. And so, one, they will vote against the MPP to maintain justice in favor of Jachikwesin. Two, they will vote for someone they know and trust, someone who have allegiance with them, someone they've lived with. Don't forget that Nanabi said the last time that Jachikwesin have been in Canada for 40 years. That's not true. He's been with the people. They voted for him as their MP. Government is using its machinery to try and get him out of parliament. And so we are telling the people that their vote is not only for the NDC and Jachikwesin, it is also to have an effective work on parliament. It will reflect on the work of parliament, because their vote will maintain the status quo as far as the hung parliament is concerned, to check the conduct of government. That is what we are telling the people. So it is Operation Maintain.
Okay. Well, let me bring in Nanabi on this. Nanabi, so we've heard, at least my colleague tell me about the number of projects, massive projects that are being undertaken in Asin North. So is that the strategy? Borrowed popularity spree and by-election projects? Is that how we are doing this Operation Snatch?
Thank you very much. And good evening to your choice listeners, and good evening to my brother Mustafa as well. First of all, let me address just three quick issues. The The gentleman we have just elected as our parliamentary candidate, he is a true indigene. He does not possess dual citizenship. He was born and bred in Asin Briku. He went to school here. He has his NGO offices here. He has a house here, unlike Mr. Jechukwesi. Mr. Kwesi stayed in abroad for 41 years.
But that's
if
not
my brother
fair.
Mustafa doesn't know, he stayed in Canada for 41 years. He doesn't have any touch with them.
Nana B, briefly, you've added all his track record when it comes to
No.
But that's not
It would be
fair.
unfair for you to just cut me when he's mentioned some of these things. He also mentioned the fact that we are trying to get Mr. Kwesi out of Parliament. That is an absurdity. Look, Jomo MP, NDC MP, he went to court. Similar issues. The court said that, you know what, go ahead, do your work. And then they jubilated. The same court is saying that Jechukwesi doesn't possess that requisite documentation to be in Parliament. And then you are saying that it is the MPP in cahoots with the court. I mean, this attempt to always malign and bastardize the court is quite unfortunate. And that is their campaign message here. And that is why we need to bring it to the attention of Ghanaians. Again, on the issue of the project, these are projects that are not 2 day, 3 day, a week project. When you consider the 32-kilometer road right from Praso to Asampanaye to Bretiakon to Briku to Niaso to Akonfode, these are roads that started years ago.
But they were abandoned.
Today,
They were abandoned.
No, not at all.
All of a sudden, it's been revived.
Used this road consistently.
Okay.
They have never been abandoned. Consistently, they have been on this work right somewhere from the year 2020. It can never be said that road that go to Asimfosu now. Beautiful. If you have been to Asimfosu now and you come here today, you may even lost. You are going to. So it cannot be said that these projects are fortnight projects and these projects are by-election projects. Not at all. So these projects are projects targeted at consciously developing Asimfosu. Look, when you consider education, you consider market, you consider sanitation, you consider health. We have closed about 120 projects. Agenda 111. Such a beautiful project coming up here in Asin North.
Okay.
We have a beautiful astroturf now. So it can never be said that these are by-election projects.
So this is not a borrowed popularity spree for the NPP. And I must add, did you elect a candidate in whom the parties were pleased?
No. I mean, then again, this argument is also flawed. Look, you have somebody like a sitting MP, NDC MP, Sofa Kyokun, who moved away from Obundomiabra to, I think, Wakankri or Ayawaso. You have Baba Jama moving away from Akwetia all the way to Ayawaso. And then you have your own Akwetia Mankwa, who was a voter in Ayawaso West Wagon, who came all the way. You sponsored this gentleman all the way to Kumewu, and he was not a voter there. So that argument is again flawed. What the Constitution requires is that you are a registered voter, you are a Ghanaian of 21 years, and you do not hold any allegiance other than Ghana. And that is why they qualify. Unlike Mr. Kwesi, who has been lawless, right, as a lawmaker, or somebody who is seeking to be a lawmaker. He's been the lawless lawmaker.
Okay. So
the fact of the matter
I was
is
actually asking if the party is happy, the candidate that you
we
elected.
are extremely happy. You know what? They are panicking.
Okay.
You know how they started writing letters citing the names of Charles Opoku even before he was elected. Okay. They were having bad dreams. They were having nightmares even before he was elected. They started writing letters saying that we plan transferring his votes from a particular constituency to Asin North, even before he got elected.
We're grateful. We'll have to leave it here,
Nanabi.
Thank you so much. We'll have to leave it here, gentlemen. And it looks like the fierce politicking is on, Emmons, and your election headquarters is there all over it for you. And bringing it.
No, but of course, Rachel Kudunyako is on the ground now,
exactly,
and with our team of reporters covering this, because today was one of the days we couldn't have missed, of course, because of the flow of activity, but also just gauging what is going to happen going into the by-election on the 27th of June. But as we've been talking about this, you know that the NDC has been engaged in this tussle with the Electoral Commission ahead of the polls, and the subject of Charles Opoku, who had just been elected as the MPP's parliamentary candidate, had been at the center of the accusations that the EC is in cahoots or conspiring with the MPP to try and transfer his vote from another constituency to as enough to vote. Well, I've been speaking to the Director of Electoral Services at the Electoral Commission, Dr. Sribo Kweku, about this, and he's challenging the NDC to produce evidence if they have it.
Since 2020, we have not even activated the icon on the transfer of vote. So no vote has been transferred since we finished the 2020 elections. But if you want to apply for transfer, you apply. No, we have received some applications, right? But no, to the best of my knowledge, nobody has applied for even transfer to Ase North. Nobody.
The applications you received, did they include one Charles Opoku?
That's what I said. We have not received that.
But you've received some applications?
Oh, yes. I think we have about 7 or so, but not to Ase North. And to the best of my knowledge, we have never transferred vote for by-elections. Because the law is that the application should be done not less than 42 days to election. And this type of elections, 30 days to election. So clearly cuts off any form of qualification.
That's Dr. Sribo Kweku there, and he is on PM Express later tonight. Catch the full interview. He addressed this extensively. He also addressed the subject of Sammy Jemfi, addressed their relationship with the NDC. It appears that it's very cordial in private, but antagonistic in public. And he explains why that is the case. You want to catch the full interview at 9 p.m. on the Joy News channel, across our social media platforms, and on myjoyonline.com.
I'll take you to Parliament now, where the Minority Chief Whip, Governor Kwame Agbuja, says the newly appointed Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokono, must leave a better legacy than her predecessor, Kwesi Enin-Yeboah, in terms of justice delivery.
Well, the Daklu MP accused Enin-Yeboah of presiding over Supreme Court, which made some bad judgments, citing the court's decision in the birth certificate case and the recent Jachikwe case as well.
And urge colleagues to support the approval of Justice Tokono, simply because I think she's got what it takes to be a Supreme Court judge. And I am hopeful, Mr. Speaker, that she will be a better Chief Justice than the person she's taking over from. Why do I say this, Mr. Speaker? Under the reign of the outgoing Chief Justice, the level of miscarriage of justice in this country reached a crescendo and must never be repeated. And the former Chief Justice must know when he goes home, this miscarriage of justice rests on his chest. When a Ghanaian cannot use birth certificate, but let the rulings of the court make sense to the ordinary citizen. Let the rulings of the court be enforceable. Mr. Speaker, if we take the ruling of the Supreme Court as a law, it will be difficult for me to approve Justice Tokono as a Ghanaian, because she has no proof beyond this as a citizen of Ghana, Mr. Speaker. But I will leave this to the lawyers. But let them understand that they are not God, and they are also interpreting this Constitution. This Constitution makes sense to me. Their rulings must make sense to me, Mr. Speaker. I thank you for the opportunity.
Well, the First Deputy Speaker wasn't happy with the pronouncements that we've just heard there. Joe Sowusu challenged the Minority Chief Whip to criticize the rulings of the judges and not their personality.
Ordinarily, I'll leave it here, but I think it is important for our own records to emphasize one thing. Judges know that as humans they can err, and judges always welcome criticism of their judgment. But when we are critiquing a judgment, it is expected that we will critique the judgment with law, with facts, with alternative argument. We should shy away or move away from just criticizing because we agree or disagree. Otherwise, we give room for people to attack the individual judges rather than the judgment. Members are encouraged to feel free to research and bring alternative arguments, legal arguments, to challenge the judges. That is how the law has been developed over the years. And so we should not shy away from criticizing judgment, except that we should demonstrate that the judge either did not look at the particular law, he overlooked something, or he did not interpret the judgment in a particular way.
Let's bring in parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante. Kweku, it wasn't a surprise, was it, that the much of the debate focused on the Jachikwesin case. Haruna Idrisu, who is the former minority leader, had something to say about this. Hello, Kweku. Yeah, we may have lost him there. We'll try and get him back. Haruna Idrisu has been speaking about this. Even the speaker himself had his own take on the issues, particularly when it comes to attacking judges and critiquing their judgments and making the separation between both. Kweku, Haruna Idrisu was also on his feet on the floor of Parliament today, raising issues with the judgment still.
Indeed, Evans, the judgment was such a centerpiece of the debate around Justice Tokunu's approval today. He was instructive by saying that judges must know that they are not above reproach, they are not above criticism, and that indeed his reading of the Jachikwesin case, the judgment that the Supreme Court put out, clearly showed that the court erred fundamentally when it held that Jachikwesin's election should be nullified. In his opinion, the court must look at some of these issues going forward, and the Chief Justice must be the watchword on this.
The Supreme Court is not above the criticisms of the Parliament of Ghana. Indeed, in civilized jurisdictions, and even in Ghana, the Supreme Court or the courts are servants of the legislature. We make the law. They are to interpret the law. That is why we are enjoined not to use language that is ambiguous. When they are interpreting the law, they are supposed to be guided by the words the legislature uses, that members of parliament uses. So nobody should think that freedom of expression is limited only in our bedrooms. Okay.
And Kweku, he got a response on the Abuakwa South MP Atacha.
Yeah, according to Atacha, if the NDC feels strongly about the judgment of the court and they think it's wrong, then they should apply for a review instead of trying to use Parliament as a review chamber.
Supreme Court is, you know, the processes of amendment, which we have even the power to initiate in this House. Mr. Speaker, I agree with you that any time we are in this chamber and then we veer into territories that are not ours, we will make some serious errors. If you pay regard to the this decision, which you might want to call it the James Jachikwesin decision, we have lawyers of consequence representing this man. That is Mr. Chikata. And therefore, if this decision is wrong in law, we know what to do. This chamber is not a review, a place of what has been decided by the Supreme Court. Mr. Speaker, I am of the humble view that the nominee is a symbol of the power of womanhood. It seems to me that in recent times, the power of women are being showcased. We have Her Ladyship Georgina Wood, and then Her Ladyship Sophia Akufo.
And MFA, you're a woman, and so this comes straight into your lap. I've just heard Atacha mentions that the Chief Justice nominee has been confirmed. We're expecting her to be sworn in pretty shortly. But, she's also been unhappy about something. This year, we've had so many key members of the Supreme Court exiting. So we have the likes of, the Chief Justice Iniyeboah himself is gone. They have the acting Chief Justice, Victor James Doche, who's also leaving tomorrow. Justice Nena Megache, who has already retired and currently on a 6-month extension. The former Chief Justice, Kwesi Iniyeboah, as we mentioned already. So a host of them. Justice Tokunu, who will be sworn in pretty shortly from what we understand herself, is not happy and is worried about what she says is the attrition rate of the great and the good from the Supreme Court.
The attrition rate of the great and good from the Supreme Court this year leaves us all with great sadness. But I personally cannot help but feel almost orphaned by the situation as I prepare to serve this nation where their big shoes stood. To lose the help and wisdom of His Lordship Justice Victor Jones Maulom Doche, a proud son of Pando, a quintessential example of the beautiful pearl, at a time like this is a big blow, and I know that we shall all miss him very dearly. It is my prayer that our celebration of these distinguished jurists will carry on into our continued service through this institution, as we all strive to emulate his examples of good faith, patriotism, hard work, diligence, and devout faith, delivered with constant humor and wisdom through stories from Kwando, Commonwealth Hall, and his journeys around the world. Victor Jones Maulam Duce, for the service and for the example you are leaving us with. May the Lord continue to bless you with good health and strength of mind and body, and with the love and comfort of family.
But I'm sure you're wondering what Justice Jones Doche will be doing next. He's been telling us.
Am I happy or sad that I am going home? I think I am really happy because I am tired. What am I going to do? First of all, I intend to work with an organization which is called, it's a non-governmental organization, Judicial Watch. I think only Justice Mariam Awusu knows about this. That's my first preoccupation after I've rested for the rest of this year. Secondly, I intend to set up a Victoria Doche Memorial Trust Fund to support the girl child education in my mother's hometown, Amfweta. This one I have not discussed with my brothers, but my mother was fond of education, and I have already requested my sister, Justice Agnes Doji, to be the chair of this trust fund when it is established very soon. Thirdly, I also intend to raise funds to build permanent buildings for the daycare center in Pando, where our late mother was the supervisor from 1960 to 1969. Since then, the said nursery school has not had its own permanent buildings. That nursery was the one Dr. Kanda and my brother Seth attended, and I believe I will call on them to support this worthy cause.
Tall list of things he wants to do. I was hoping that he would say that he'll probably travel to go and watch Chelsea and also spend some time with, he says those teams are giving him a lot of trouble this year. Traumatized him this year.
I'm not sure he would want to go
But
that.
I've had an encounter with him before I will never forget. He actually became my friend after that encounter. I was a young court reporter back in the day, in court. And one of the days I was in this court, I'm telling this story in public for the first time. And I was in this court covering one of those very high-profile cases. I think it must have been the Tagore case. And, accuracy is everything here. And, when he's delivering his judgment and speaking, sometimes you just have to write it down. You might miss it. So
because you can't record.
I put my recorder on my lap, right? And I was recording it, secretly. And the police officer walked by and saw it and, took it and went to whisper into his ears and asked him to usher me into the chamber. So he left. And then I went to meet him behind. Oh my God, I was detained for quite a bit. So office was calling me, and they wanted a story. Newsnight, I was not coming, what was happening, and then eventually he let me go on a caution. And then he became a very good friend of mine indeed. And so,
you saw your real size that day.
I saw exactly. I saw my real size that day. Recently, I was hosting one of the shows for the judicial, and we had a good laugh and chat about it. Yes, so he's a lovely, lovely man.
Justice Doche, Doche or
Doche.
I mean, he is an ardent listener of Joe, of course.
We wish him all the best.
When you have an encounter with him, he always wants to challenge you.
He has a great sense of humor. Very, very
persona.
humble.
Yeah.
And very intelligent, actually. As a judge, second to none. All remember him for, create, loot, and share. But yes, I mean, I wish him all the best.
Let's do business.
Well, coming up in business, the bulk oil distributors give some positive outlook for fuel prices at the pumps in the coming weeks, but condition is that as long as the Ghana city remains fairly stable. And Group Chief Executive of EcoBank, optimistic IMF program will fast-track confidence restoration in the economy. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business, Allianz Life and Ghana Pay.
Wonderful when everything worth doing is scheduled, hitting the stop button on your alarm just in time for your morning jog. That happy moment listening to your baby's heartbeat at the doctor's office. Or an arranged virtual meeting with that big client.
Buy airtime ahead of time with scheduled airtime service on MTN Momo. You can schedule your airtime purchase of any amount daily, weekly, or monthly by dialing *170# option 3 and follow the process. Or simply dial *170*311# for a superb airtime purchase experience. You enjoy 100% bonus airtime anytime you recharge yourself with MTN Momo. Keep on talking with that 100% feeling. So, what are we doing today?
MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHF, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
I'm off way! Yeah! Media Sambisanda mo. It's your Ratiano, Mumu, I panic to be fit no put on Pemo Maniacono. Eh, Quabna. No Mumu wants me to be just Mali, my married in that day. Eh, and the crow, complete to me number of people sense or you super accident ever. I had in a binding to Braille, who see it in a mobile, some man I want it. Sir, I now could you soon use super accident Chaco, Nenry dear, a mouse, and we are credit fit of that. No, what you ask you, my mother feel you. Hey, Kojo, sir. Yeah. Pepsodent Heba and a Pepsodent Chaco. I've idea. You're gonna natural.
FDIJ Trading Katuatu.
Shit, wahala no get breaks so. What is it? Some customers have left. Their mobile money payment didn't come.
What? Avoid such payment issues with BluePay. BluePay lets you easily receive payments on your mobile device with no e-levy charges. Simply enter your customer's number and the amount to be paid on your BluePay app. The customer will receive the BluePay prompt to confirm with their PIN instantly. Customers can also pay with bank cards using the BluePay POS device. Call or WhatsApp 054-7220-200 or visit bluepay.com.gh to register and get BluePay for your business today. BluePay, never miss a sale.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, bulk oil distribution companies have given some fresh assurance that fuel prices will remain stable at the pumps in the coming weeks, as long as the Ghana city remains fairly stable. Now, fresh fights in Russia and Ukraine, as well as moves by the oil exporting giant OPEC to cut a round of fuel prices, have actually ignited concerns that prices could be going up again at the pumps in the coming weeks. The chief executive of the chamber, Dr. Patrick Okofori, says we should rather be concerned about the city's stability in the coming weeks.
There is a positive outlook, especially from our part of the world, looking at the situation currently happening in China, that they have not really opened up to a full scale, and then also with most of the refineries coming back from their shutdowns, and the U.S. reserve, the U.S. policy rate and other things. It gives a strong indication and a strong confidence that if our city is to continue to perform or remain relatively stable for international prices, we can clearly see that it may come down. And we can also pick up from all indications what currently OPEC and its members are trying to do to ensure that the demand has gone down. They, as much as possible, want to cut down supply so that they can still remain a bit competitive and get some hikes in the prices.
Dr. Patrick Okofor is Chief Executive of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distribution Companies. Let's still stay on the sector because oil marketing giant GOIL says it expects supply issues at all its service stations to normalize by tomorrow. The development affected product availability, with some linking it to fuel shortage on the market. But speaking to Joy Business after the company's annual general meeting today, Group Chief Executive Kwame Oseprempe noted that all the issues have been resolved.
In the first, there were some challenges at the CDM. There were crises, so we couldn't discharge our cargoes as fast as should be. But then, when we were able to discharge, there were some challenges in the loading section. That's what accounted for that. As at now, we have enough quantities to satisfy the market. So, normally we even supply 2.4 million a day on the market. Yesterday at management meeting, we decided to move it to 2.5 million so that we make sure that this situation is normalized once and for all.
Group Chief Executive of GOIL, Kwame Oseprempe. Now, former Minister of Finance Tekpe has indicated that there is no need to institute new laws to check the country's rising debt. Now, this follows government's plan to amend the Fiscal Responsibility Act to try and limit the amount of debt its administration can borrow. Mr. Tekpe tells Joy Business there are already laws in place to check the rising debt and government's expenditure.
I would like to know from the government, document, if it is a memorandum of economic and financial policy. I'm saying that we do have the provisions. They are already in the Fiscal Public Financial Management Act, which was passed in 2016, Act 921. And in fact, the Budget Responsibility Act, which you mentioned, is actually an extract from the financial, what we call the PFME. Yes, there is a need for tightening. There is a need for tightening the rules, but it's not just about debt. As I said, your debt is from borrowing, and the borrowing is from your deficit, and your deficit is from revenue minus expenditure. And this is the purpose of the Public Financial Management Act, to cover all this in one law, which amended the FAA, Financial Administration Act. So what we need is a comprehensive approach to managing our fiscal.
Former Minister of Finance Seth Tekpe, now Group Chief Executive of EcoBank Jeremy Awori, is optimistic that the IMF program will help in restoring confidence in the economy. This comment is coming ahead of the IMF staff visit to town to track Ghana's program and embark on stakeholder engagement. Mr. Awori tells Joy Business they are looking forward to a stabilized environment that will support banks in the country.
We remain hopeful that Ghana can really get back onto its feet. I mean, it was obviously quite unfortunate what happened when we went through the Ghana debt situation that we did. But we're quite encouraged by the dialogue between the Paris Club and the Chinese, the dialogue between the government and the IMF and the World Bank. And we fundamentally believe that the Ghanaian economy, will rebound. The question is just how quickly. We really hope that it's quick, that confidence returns. And we as a bank are one of the biggest banks in Ghana and are committed to our customers, to growing that business. And we still see a lot of exciting opportunities, but we operate within the framework of the economy itself. And we need that to, really to bounce back, and we'll be there to support the government and players as we do so.
Group Chief Executive of EcoBank, Jeremy Awori. Now, banking consultant and notary champion has described as prudent proposals to increase the minimum capital requirement for commercial banks in Ghana. The Bank of Ghana has asked banks to submit their recapitalization plans by September this year. The notary champion maintains that the current challenges facing the economy warrants the Bank of Ghana's action.
If your capital has fallen below the buffer level and is giving you 5-6 months to look at plans to boost it up. Actually, you got up to 3 years to do that. But it doesn't mean that, I think it's a trick where once you submit your plans, what should be out of the window will be dividend payment. Because for the 3 years, unless you are able to say that you've got up to the buffer level and you've met all conditions, you are not allowed to pay dividend. And so it's a way of getting banks to really boost their capital before they start paying dividends.
Nanodo Champon is a banking consultant. Let's turn our attention to the stock market. And shares of MTN Ghana continues to increase on the market. It was up by 9 pesos to close at 1 Ghana cedi, 19 pesos. Enterprise Group shares went down marginally and is now worth 2 cedis, 41 pesos. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Evans and MF. We are still searching for the correct pronunciation. Is it Doche or Doche?
You heard the man, he says
The man
Doche.
himself mentioned that
Okay.
Doche.
Yes,
Doche.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Let's do some messages before we go to sports.
And MF, this is to you. It says good evening to you and your cherished listeners. It's amazing. Contractors who abandoned road projects in Asin North of all the suddenly reappeared. Electorates in Asin North must demonstrate to this government that they are not voting machines.
Well, that's from Magbe. We have this one from Papa. He says, no one can speak up in GH. I mean, how is this the human rights lawyers' country? What a shame. I guess he's referring to what we did on Top Story. And then Kofi Seidu says the people of Asin North should punish the NPP for trying to hoodwink them with projects which have been long abandoned for almost 2 years by the same government. We have this one also from Musa Abatwa in Aswase. He says the massive projects happening at Asin North simply because of the by-election is a slap on the face of the people of Asin North. They should punish them by voting massively for James Achikwesen. And Bochi Philip in Keta says votes buying can't win Asin North constituency seat. And a final one from Sena says NPP party must forget upcoming Asin North by-election. Some of your messages that you've sent via WhatsApp. Let's do sports. Mr. Cranting is in the studios. Hello.
Hi, Mafa. Hi, Evans. Would you follow me to Saudi anytime soon?
Looks like that's
when
everybody's moving to.
Just tell me who should I kill to come along?
I'll text you by close of day tomorrow.
Tomorrow is too long.
It's too long.
Let's do it now, right after here.
Let's go straight into the sports. And the sports is brought to you by Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal. Pepsodent, every smile matters. Now, the former Western Regional FA chairman Kojo Yanka has accused the GFA president Keto Kriku of destroying the unity within the Ghanaian football community. Yanka, who this week declared his intention to contest the GFA presidency, is of the opinion that the current FA boss has stepped on one too many toes during his tenure. He made these claims in an exclusive interview with Joy Sports.
When he was elected, he said something, and a lot of the football people were not happy. And up to now, he said he cannot work with his enemies. And a lot of the football people are not happy. Instead of that, people are not even interested in going to the FA. The love we used to have, we share things together, we argue together, it's no more. That is why we have to look at that particular problem to bring us back again.
You had the former Western Regional FA chairman, Kojo Yanka, speaking there. That's it for sports. But Evans, Lionel Messi, yes, he's heading to Inter Miami.
Inter Miami?
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't go to Saudi?
Yeah, the one man who said no to Saudi.
How much is he taking there?
Figures are not yet being disclosed.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Now, due to the lack of furniture, 3 to 4 children are forced to share a desk that is only meant to hold 2. Alternatively, they must crouch, kneel, sit on stones, or lie down to learn. And that's a story in many parts of the country. In the final episode of season 2 of Ghana's Schools of Shame, Jojo Kobana visited the Christian Heritage School in the Tatali district of the Northern Region and reports that the children are desperate for the government to provide them with furniture.
Rainy season. Rainy season. Rainy season.
The Christian Heritage School in the Tatali district of the Northern Region has inadequate furniture, so the children sit on stones and blocks to study. Some of the children simply lie down if they start to feel uncomfortable. They become playful, dirty, and sometimes occasionally nod off on the bare floor. Research from the Ghana Education Service in the Northern Region shows only 33.6% of children at the kindergarten level have school furniture. The data also shows that 56% of primary school children do not have furniture. It is almost the norm to be without school furniture.
For kindergarten enrollment currently stands at 881, and of that number we have 52,643, and that gives us a 33.6%. So in total, about 104,238 children are currently either perching with somebody or sitting on the ground.
The total furniture deficit in the northern region alone stands at 321,116. Olivia Chemame is in her early teens. She is unwilling to sit on the bare floor at this point in her adolescence. She wants the government to stock her school with enough furniture.
After sitting on stones and blocks for long hours, you start to develop sores on your buttocks because the surface is quite rough. You feel very uncomfortable and unable to pay attention and learn. We park about 3 to 4 blocks before we sit. If you get up abruptly, the blocks may fall on your toes and you would even get hurt. We are pleading with government to come to our aid.
Lack of school furniture is just one of the many challenges in her school. Studies are conducted under simple sheds which are thatch roofed without walls. Teachers say the children are subjected to the whims of the weather.
When during Harmattan time, you'll be there, then the wind will blow dust onto ourselves. The whole class will now be very, very dusty. So writing or looking on the board becomes a challenge. Anytime it rains in the morning, that means teaching and learning cannot take place because all the desks will be wet. So sometimes when it's raining in the morning like this, it becomes so sad, both the learners and the teachers.
It rained the day after Joy News finished filming and departed Tatale. The personnel there filmed and sent videos to show what they had been complaining about. But that is not all. Sometimes reptiles invade classrooms, disrupting class sessions.
My name is Mame Bisandra.
Snakes invade our classrooms and we run away. We want government to help us.
Big snake or small snakes? The big ones and the small ones.
Jojo Kobna with that report. Final episode in season 2 of Ghana's Schools of Shame. Look out for season 3. But let's focus on Cleaning Ghana, and the campaign team were out today, and officials of the new plant station face possible charges of violating environmental rules after the Clean Ghana team discovered an illegal connection of waste from the station directly into the Koli Lagoon. My colleague Prince Owusu-Ansa was with the team. Here's his report read to you.
Problem. No, but so we are only against you.
This is the head of welfare at the new plant station at Accra Circle, Al-Hassan Kasim, refuting allegations of violating environmental rules.
Even if not today, I don't even know something like that. But from your explanation.
The AMA sanitation team charged the management of new plant station for disregarding environmental regulations by openly discharging feces into the Koli Lagoon.
Innovate the septic tank. Thank you for your
Okay, so you leave.
I got it. Yeah. So we'll give notice to that effect. No problem.
The soak pit receiving effluent has a direct connection to the Koli Lagoon, resulting in the contamination of the water body. George Lawson is the district environmental officer for the Ablekuma South Sub-Metro.
They are discharging effluent into the water body, that's the Koli Lagoon. And by so doing, they pollute the lagoon.
He asked the task force team to shut down the washroom that serves as a facility for many travelers and market women.
So it's been shut down now. At least Joy Clean Ghana campaign is working, getting some results as well.
We'll focus on the climate now, and with less than 7 years to the deadline set by the United Nations for the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goal 13 on climate action, it appears Ghana is yet to fully implement laws enshrined in Act 917. My colleague Carlos Caloni finds out in today's episode of Climate Focus.
And haphazard burning of used or sport lorry tires has become a big business here in Ghana. Here at Ashaiman, these scrap dealers explain to Joy News what goes into the business.
The tires, we get it from vulcanizers who burn it and sell the wares in it. You know, when you burn it, you see wares in the EPA hardly get to know whether we are burning it or where we burn it, because we don't burn it in the daytime. Sometimes we burn it 1 or even 12 a.m. We know we are not protecting the environment. But the only thing we can do is to, bend it.
1/3 of outpatients, including toddlers who visit this facility, have varying forms of respiratory conditions that could be linked to increased air pollution.
Based on the number of cases we see in a day, at least you see about 1/3 of clients coming with upper respiratory tract infections, and it ranges from kids 1 year and above.
Meet 37-year-old Roland Aja Eyim, not his real name.
The doctor told me I have asthma, which was caused by the smoke I was inhaling from that ice that is being burnt.
What strategies can the country deploy under the current circumstances? Professor Daniel Trefo of University of Ghana is an environmental economist.
Having a formal recycling plant, and then they will be able to recycle it in a more environmentally sustainable way.
Well, I don't know if you did the literature in school, but as part of our... You did, eh? Which of the books did you read? Me, I didn't.
And Juliet.
Me, I'm a science student.
Our husband has gone.
Why won't it be Romeo and Juliet?
I'm just listening.
Why
My
won't it
husband has
be
gone
Romeo
mad
and
again.
Juliet? Well, there are those who read No Nuts from the book Diplomatic Pounds and Other Stories. That's from Amma Ataidu, the late. Akofo Ejani brings us extracts of how the late author describes Ghanaian funerals in her piece.
Funerals. Half of the time, we don't even know who is dead, but we'll be there anyway. We would know the deceased. He would be my aunt's husband's uncle on his father's side, or my best friend's brother-in-law, or some such remote connection. And then move on to the next major business of the day, which is serious jollification. We sing, we dance, we drink, we eat, then we go back to our homes to wait for the next funeral.
We're dancing our way out of here with the National Science and Maths quiz.
And Brekum Methodist Senior High and Technical School will finally have a field of the national competition later this year. Listen to their interaction with Manuel Bright Kweko.
Congratulations to you guys. I know it hasn't been easy. This is your first time qualifying to the national stage. How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel?
I'm feeling so... I don't even know how to explain this.
Were you expecting to actually win the contest? Because...
This year is our year.
This year?
To nationals.
You're coming to nationals.
Yeah.
So what should we expect from you coming to the nationals?
100%. We are coming.
We should do it. You should tell them that you are coming. But somebody would argue that given your performance, you had 16.
If we have won with 2 points, Krana, we still been there. We are going to improve it.
I realized when you answered the last riddle, you knew, yes, we are done with it. How was that feeling?
Answering last question to win. In fact, it wasn't easy.
They'll be featuring on the national stage in the National Science and Maths quiz.
We'll see. They'll come up against a certain school in the Volta region called Ola. And
which will be taken out by a certain school in the central region called
Wesley Girls High School. Have you been there? At least we've been there already.
You know I love you, but as for this one, you walk alone.
You walk alone, yeah. You're not Liverpool.
You walk alone in this one. Listen, Strong and Sassy is up next.
Yes.
You're talking about something.
So
really
I want to ask MFI a question. So MFI, like, if you lose a tooth, right? I mean, technology has advanced to the point where you can get an implant, so you replace your tooth. So how about if you feel like your butt is a little bit too flat?
I didn't lose
and
it,
you just want to move some fat from your tummy to your butt so that it's round. What do you think about that?
Our exercise. I think I have a perfect body. I love it the way it is. Don't touch it. Please.
Okay, well, tonight we're talking about those who
what if I offer to pay for you?
No. Give me the money.
Wow, we're talking about those who think that their bodies are not perfect, all the things that women feel, and what plastic surgery offers us today. At the end of the conversation, we're hoping that if it's something you wanted to do, then you'll have all the information that you need. So tonight we're talking to a plastic surgeon about all of the BBLs and the lipos and the fat
and
injections
and
the dangers, but also whether it's safe, because there is the argument that
it's absolutely necessary.
Well, necessity is objective.
Okay, we'll see. I will be listening.
All right, so stay tuned in.
Joy 99.7 FM.